Hello and welcome to the first semifinal series of the CECS League of Legends playoffs with George Foreman Grill and Casually Reformed. Sorry, I had to mute the stream there. Showing off everyone we got on the stream here today. I'd like to introduce everybody. We've got Kang.
Oh,
That is
Hello,
I.
there's Kang. We got Stefano. We
hello.
got Natural.
What's up?
And as we'd like to discuss to start out our rounds of the analyst desk here of these two teams, I'd like to bring it to the no frills player to watch, Royal. Take it away, Kang.
Yeah, for sure. I think this series is gonna be a real close one. First semis match of the tournament. I mean, there's only two. What am I talking about? But I think it all comes down to the mid lane matchup, and not to put any pressure on them, but I think Royal will define how semis is gonna play out, for better or for worse. This guy is typically seen as the backbone of the team, but I have spoke with him behind the scenes, and he has quite the champ pool. Very flashy picks such as Akali and Silas. Definitely a lot of mobility, a lot of pick potential there, lots of damage, really. But he does like playing all these mid carry champions. Mordekaiser is still around. I mean, I'm sure teams around the league haven't forgotten about it. Has been out of the meta for quite some time, but I'm sure they're probably not going to let it through anytime soon. And you know, don't want to really leak too much here, but let's just say Perks has been taking some notes from Royal in terms of champion picks. So maybe we'll see it come out to play for this match, but maybe not. And, Royal, again, with Akali, Silas, he likes playing super aggressive. And if he can take over the game, it's going to be a huge deal for Casually Reformed because he has been the one to watch in multiple iterations of Casually Reformed. The thing is, though, I spoke to him once again. I spoke to him behind the scenes, and he has stated that Casually Reformed, while in the past has been very mid-centric, uh, they have been transitioning to more of a team bot-focused around game plan around Harley and Murphy. So, you know, obviously the mid match is pretty exciting, but it's not Royal versus Sirius. It's Casually Informed versus George Foreman Grill. So obviously the player to watch is Royal. I think there's a lot of pressure on him to perform if he wants to take the cup home next week. But I think this should be an exciting match to watch. And personally, for me, Royal would be the guy to watch.
Is there a physical cup to take home?
There was last,
We shipped
Well,
not last season, in season 1. I'm pretty sure there was a
Oh,
cup
yeah,
in
okay.
season 1.
Oh, yeah.
you can fill any cup you want with Summer Red Bull, the new flavor of Red Bull here. That was a good transition. You're welcome, people at Red Bull.
Welcome,
So,
as a side note, welcome to the Red Bull analyst desk.
Yeah, just,
Quick start out from our sponsor.
mm.
I
Oh
can't
yeah,
drink from this way.
dragon fruit. Yeah, good
wow,
shit.
it
Good
tastes
stuff.
like summer.
Yeah,
All
totally.
jokes aside, though, let's get on to the analyzing these two teams here. So, as far as it goes, we have mentioned Royal as one of the key players to watch, and probably one of the biggest components for how we can watch a swing in this game. There is a lot of other lanes to watch and discuss, though, and as far as it goes, I would like to talk initially about the mid lane matchup, and then the rest about some of the meta changes that have come through, even just from watching some of the other professional scenes, whether that's through MSI right now and some of the individual matches that have gone on there, and how that might affect how these teams are going to be playing. I know these teams fairly well, but if anybody has anything that they'd like to bring up about individual players, let's throw it out there. Stefano, how about you? What are you thinking? As a support player, what are you thinking of the bot lane? How about that?
What I'm thinking of the bot lane is I actually think support is in a very healthy spot right now, and what that means is that although Murphy is famously really good on Thresh, I think he has the ability to pick up a lot of different champions. You know, we haven't seen Rel is still very really viable, Taric, Lulu, Alistair. There's so many characters that are good for so many different reasons. So I think now is a great time to be a support player. I'm really gonna look to Murphy to see if he can capitalize on all the different things he can play.
I know you're a support main, but I wouldn't exactly call Lulu healthy.
I
That
didn't say he was
polymorph is
okay.
pretty.
Okay, maybe you're right.
that polymorph is pretty annoying.
Completely fair. Yeah, and on top of that too, if we're gonna look at Murphy as one of them, we also got to consider the other side of that too. Bog, as they say, is Pog. And he definitely shows that in all of the ways he plays. His champ pool, you can say that, oh, you know, as far as it goes, the meta is going to be swinging one way or the other. But I've seen some picks there, and there might be some spicy stuff that might be pulled out of there. Possibly enchanters, maybe a mage. You know, he's got a little bit of everything. I'm pretty sure he played Cho'Gath for like half the season, if not more than that. In terms of what they're going to be picking up there is really up to the question. The biggest changes that I did want to bring attention to, outside of the bot lane, where I do have some opinions there, is the jungle. The jungle changes were the biggest thing to happen, probably as a systemic overall change. And how that's going to affect this matchup, to me, is probably going to be in the biggest way. As much as Swark has shown to have a fairly good amount of dominance in the jungle, I do believe that the playstyle that's been picked up by Sean could benefit him in this series pretty well. We've got changes to Smite, where after the first 5 charges, we've now got just a better Smite just for the rest of the game. The XP changes that now allow him to, if he wants to just power gank over and over and over and over again, he's not going to be falling as far behind as he usually does in every single other game because he's ganks too much. So that alone being the case, I'd like to watch that matchup there and just kind of question what we might be able to see from those picks just going forward. Anybody here have any ideas for what might be seen from the jungle?
Yeah, I think that. Go ahead, Natural.
I was just gonna say that the jungle changes will most likely favor Sean by just a bit, but I don't feel like it's gonna be that impactful. I'm not too sure of how the meta in the jungle has evolved, since I'm an AD carry main myself. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem like it has that much impact. It feels like the gold distribution and the XP distribution was a little shuffled around, but I'm honestly not convinced that it's actually gonna like have a significant shift in the meta, so to speak.
Okay. And then as a last point of contention here, we've mentioned pretty much every lane here, but if I'm going to be talking about one of the weak points, and we do want to be talking one of the weak points, we can't just be a little bit biased here. I do believe that the last point of contention is going to be in that top side. Casual Reformed, as far as I've known them, has always known to be having a weak top side, to say the least, in Daniel. For sure is not their strong point, and he can be relevant where they need him. But that's the exact same style that they have with Dirty Phil in the top side. And if you have seen anything from the dirtiest of Phils, you would know that he is very dirty on the gangplank. And I do believe if we're going to be going into draft here, as far as I'm understanding, we're going pretty soon, that
Yep.
we should definitely not see a gangplank in this game. If I do, I'm going to be severely disappointed in the draft of Casual Reformed, and they should probably have prepped a little bit better. Let's bring it up with the draft if we got it. Oh, okay.
I was just gonna bring up another pick, if you don't mind me. I think
Okay.
another pick to look out for is Boggs Zillion. That is something that, looking at his OPGG, the man has a 71% win rate on Zillion, in Plat 2, mind you. So that's very decent. He's gonna stomp if he gets that pick. So let's hope that it gets banned.
So many leaks coming out of this analyst desk so far.
If I don't see a Zillion or a Yumi coming out of Bog, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
As we get into draft, it's Thresh Morgana banned by GFG, and as Lupin predicted, a Gangplank ban by ICR with the Senna. Yeah, getting that GP out of there is Kog'Maw is the final ban for GFG, really focusing on that bot lane. Obviously, Morgana is still mostly a jungler, though she can flex. but definitely getting the Thresh Kog'Maw out of the way. Don't want to give CR that potential for that hyper carry in the bottom lane.
Yeah, some pretty good bends. I like where we're going with this. I feel like JFG might have done their homework and watched last week's game as Harley and Murphy just completely smurfed both the games, and especially on the Kog'Maw Lulu. So getting that Kog'Maw out of the way as well as Harley's Thresh there, pretty good drafting. And the Lulu is actually going to be first picked by GFG.
Interesting
Yeah.
pickup here. Very standard though, as far as it goes. I'm wondering what we'll see from Response and CR. I was just about to mention. Generally speaking, they do tend to try to pick up their bot lane a little bit earlier in the draft, from what I've noticed, just to lock them down and hopefully get somebody that's a little bit stronger in the bot side there. But they do pick up the Rumble. Okay, so Rumble in the jungle. Definitely seen it in some comp play. I guess my question comes up to, what does this exactly mean for the jungle matchup for CR now, and what exactly do we see for a response from GFG in regards to this here?
Yeah, Rumble can still be flexed. You know, it's the mid lane Rumble isn't dead. Freak might even argue that it is better, as his angry Twitter rants just keep flooding my timeline. As the Vayne as well as the Zac will be being picked up for the GFG. So we have a Lulu Vayne bot lane for GFG already locked in. Very good late game scaling. And the Zac, of course, he's been popping up a lot recently in solo queue. I feel like he has very solid potential, especially around this elo. His ganking is very strong, and he has very good team fighting potential. So a very good pick for GFG, in my opinion.
Yeah, and especially with the longer respawn timers on the camps, it has a lot more opportunity for him to gank. And especially within the two long lanes, Zac has some pretty weird gank angles that can catch bot lane off guard quite frequently. So definitely, the new changes definitely favor Zac, and I actually really like this pickup. He's a pretty beefy front line, can disrupt a lot of Casualty Form's game plan so far. And just, I think he's a pretty underrated pick, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And as much as I was putting the strength towards CR for having Sean be on the repeat gank duty, I don't think Swark's any stranger to just repeat ganking over and over again as well too. And if he's going to be taking the Zac here, there's a hefty chance that he's going to be doing just that. Maybe taking a step away from just farming as much as possible, and then getting to a relevant stage, he might just be looking to toss himself into a lane that's going to be playing a little too aggressive, looking at the bot lane there for CR, and see where it goes from there. But now that we've gotten the second round of bans off here, we've got Silas and Rise taken away from GFG side onto them, and Gnar taken away. If I'm looking at Dirty Phil here, he has taken his two best champions away, and he's going to be put on the Ornn. So they're just going to leave him up the safe side. And I want to take a point here and say that the late game for GFG is disgusting. They have a lot of tools that they need to just play a front-to-back team fight and be able to play it really well and execute fairly easily as well too. And on the side of CR, they definitely have the tools as well here too, but I'm wondering what they're going to round it out with. I'd expect an AD mid laner in some way, just to maybe bring up some damage. Let's see it. Kale.
Oh, Kale.
A Kale.
Huh.
Oh.
She was just buffed in the most recent patch.
What?
Level 16, she does get the extra. She now has 625 range, which is obviously really good, especially against a team that has double tanks and a short range AD carry like Vayne. Though she is going to be heavily outranged by the Victor. But on both teams, these are some incredibly strong late game scaling teams.
Yes.
Mhm.
The one concern that I have for CR here though is, how does the front to back play out with a single tank versus two tanks and having the shred? I guess we're gonna have to find out, see how it goes in practice. I honestly was not expecting the Kale pick. So you know what? Thank you, Royal, for showing why exactly you were the no frills player of the game, and subverting all of our expectations of what you were going to pick and just throwing it out the window for me. Now I don't really know what's going on at this point.
Hey, I did talk about his champ pool. Pretty crazy, man. I mean, to me, both of these comps almost function the same way. They're both late game scaling. They're both front to back team fighting comps. The one question mark for me, though, on the side of Casually Reformed is they don't really have a way to engage other than maybe the Karma Mantra R or Mantra E, sorry, and like other than maybe like a Miracle Nard ulti, I don't really see them finding an engage. I think they're gonna have to fight around these objectives, like Dragon, like Baron, if they're gonna want to force a team fight. Otherwise, I just don't see them forcing a fight unless George Foreman and Grill get caught out.
Well,
It's
the
very true.
way Casually Reformed want to play these fights out is since they don't have that strong of an engage as GFG do. As you mentioned, GFG have the Zac and the Ornn, two very powerful engage tools right there. But what they do have is they have a pretty big range advantage later on into the game. Jinx, of course, has very good range, as well as the Kayle eventually later on into the game when she gets that level 16, does have the advantage in range, and so does Gnar. Um, so the way that Casually Reformed really want to play these fights out is that they want to be able to kite out the engage from the Zac and the Ornn. They want to avoid the Ornn Horn. They want to avoid that Zac E, and then kite backwards from there, and then re-engage from there with the Karma to boost yourself up, as well as the Kayle. They have tools to kite these fights out, but you are right in the way that they can't be the ones to engage. If they engage, they're most likely going to lose.
I'd argue that a lot of that's going to come up to how they play around with vision and how they're going to be able to set up the conditions for these fights so that they can get that sort of advantage before the fight even starts. Once again, playing around those objectives. If we have everything set up and we have maybe Royal and Sean moving out beforehand, setting up that vision line, making sure that they can't get the spicy angles from the Zac, then that'll really be what determines how these fights go for sure. Um, let's get our predictions out there and let's see what we're going to be dealing with. Where is everybody standing right now? I'm going to start out. You know, I started out with King before, and I know that he sounds like he's really thinking about this one. So let's bring it backwards. We're going to go Natural, Stefano, then Kang. Where are you guys going with this? Natural, you started out.
I'm going to give it to Casually Reformed. I think they can pull it off.
Okay. All right.
My money's on GFG. I think that CECS is gonna hopefully do a good job of shutting this Kayle down in every stage of the game.
All right, Kang, you're the one that seems to be thinking the most about this one here. Bouncing
Yeah,
ideas
it's a
off in the
pretty
head.
tough one. I mean, really, all it really comes down to is execution. I mean, both team comps are
Oh,
okay,
that's lame.
but
We all know it comes down to execution. Come on.
okay, fair enough. I think game one goes to Casually Reformed. Personally, I
Okay.
think that while they're both nice front to back comps, I think they're like as Natural said, there is a range disadvantage, at least from levels. I'm gonna say level 14 and onwards, where if Zac and both Zac and Ornn have long range engages, but Vayne is quite short range, so there is a chance that they might have a mismatching engage, and maybe Zac dives too deep. So I think Casually Reformed will take game one, but it's definitely going to be close for sure.
100%. I'll take the last step here. As much as I want to believe in CR, I actually am going to give this to GFG as well too. The only reason for that, ironically enough, is based on execution. But I think the timings of the Gnar ult and relying a lot on Daniel to be the condition for them to either engage or disengage, and having that opening window per se will be making or breaking this game. And honestly, at this point here, with him being the main engage and the only tank on the team, a lot is going to rest on the shoulders of Daniel for this game. So let's probably take it from there and bring it over out into the competitive integrity break. I almost forgot what it was called.
You got there. Yeah, you got. I don't.
Any sponsors want to reach out, we could put your name on it.
Yeah, we
exactly.
The Mercedes-Benz break.
The A&W competitive integrity break.
No!
It's
Cut the
right here. Okay, go. All right. See you guys in 3 minutes.
Trademarked.
Yeah, all right. Welcome back, everyone. We're getting underway here. The first game of the semifinals of George Foreman Grill versus Casual Reformed. It is myself, Funky D, as well as Natural here casting the game for you. How are you today, Natural?
I'm doing good. I actually got vaccinated yesterday, so that's pretty cool.
Wow,
Um,
how's the 5G?
Man, I swear to God, my ping went down by like 10 since I got vaccinated. That's
Ah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone watching, please get vaccinated. It doesn't give you 5G. I feel like I have to say this. Um, anyway, back to League of Legends, which is slightly less crazy than the normal world we live in. We see here Bog already has the prestige skin, which is very important in the sense that it is some great energy that he is bringing to the bot lane with his scissors.
Yeah, some good vibes there with the Lulu, was it Space Groove Prestige Edition or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice cash grab there from Reito. But all cash grabbing aside, Cirrus went for an electrocute actually, not something that we see too often on the Victor.
Yeah. Not something we see, but I can definitely see why you would if you want to go for this KO early, especially with this range match. The electrocute could easily give you the damage to take what you want, to do what you want. And other notable summoner spell is we have Spellbook on Orin top, which I don't think we've seen or commonly in a few years, unless I'm mistaken about that.
Spellbook has always kind of been the secondary option for Ornn. It is a later game scaling option, and when you're into ranged matchups like the Gnar, I'm pretty sure it's considered the better option. So Dirty Phil there probably going to be just fine with that spellbook. It doesn't give you, of course, that healing when you all in, but as an oriented Gnar, you're not really looking to all in anyways. As Murphy and
Level
Harley here, they get
2.
to level 2 first. The W as well as the Zap will land onto Bog. That is some very good damage. The Ignite will come down, but heal will be used by GFG to keep Bog alive for now. That is a very good trade to start off the game.
Yeah, that was a pretty silly misplay by the GFT bot lane. They can see they're 1 minion away. There they have it, but they weren't close to killing that minion. They should have known that CR was getting level 2. That was they gave up a lot of lane priority, a lot of health with their potions as well as the heal, just off of strictly speaking, just overconfidence and not paying attention. We'll see if CR can capitalize on it. They definitely do have a lot of damage with something like a Karma in the support role, so going to be a lot of pressure on Murphy to make this work.
Yeah. One thing to note is that these two lanes are, uh, they are very, excuse me, the bot lane, both Karma and Lulu kind of have different ways of functioning, but basically accomplish the same purpose. As we see a gank here coming into the top lane, Daniel, he's going to be knocked up by the combo from the Ornn. He's going to flash away and going to be just fine for now. But Swore coming in hot for his first gank of the game.
Yeah, we saw there Swark missing his Q, which I know you just told me the name 30 seconds ago, but I've already forgotten the name of it. Missing his Q on the Gnar, so he does get away. If he'd hit that, it probably would have been a kill as well as the flash. A little bit unfortunate, but a flash is still going to be very helpful against a ranged top lane of someone like Ornn.
Yeah, here, Jordan and Gorilla actually going to trade these bot lanes. Okay, Murphy going to have to flash out as well as heal. That third hit proc does a lot of damage. Daniel, he doesn't have the flash anymore, and Sword coming in with the repeat gank as we talked about. Daniel, I don't think there's any way out of this one, and Dirty Phil will claim the first kill of the game for GFG as Sean here. He's waiting for a turret dive. They're going to crash the wave and then try to do something. Sean, he has Dark Harvest, so it only takes a little bit of damage to Scissors to get down. Let's
No
see if they can
heal
actually put
available.
it off. No heal available indeed. The exhaust is still there, but will they actually manage to do anything with it? No, they will not. Very clean dive from Casually Reformed there. Harley going to pick up a kill as well as Sean. Very good cross-map play from Casually Reformed there.
Yeah, well played by Schwark to go back in another gank angle. We saw he got around the ward for a bit, and he capitalizes on the lack of flash from Nard, but extremely well played dive from the bot lane and jungle of CR. It's not often you see something go so flawlessly. So really, I can't commend them enough on the execution in that dive. Murphy, Sean, and Harley all on the same page, and Harley all on the same page, all doing it so well together. That's going to be really big going forward. Being so far up on CS with your Jinx, you have a noon quiver over them, over your lane opponent, and you're at the point where you can consistently outrange them with rockets, this is a great start for the bottom lane of CR.
Yeah, absolutely. As he sees Shork here coming in. Wow, actually going to expand the flash, trying to hit that E flash onto Royal. Not going to manage to land it. So that is just going to be an expanded flash for nothing. As Shork here. Sean might actually find him. No. Okay. Shork will be walking down into that Tribush as we see, but both junglers now on the bot side. They might be looking for a gank, but it looks like they will just be parting and continuing to clear. Notably, Sean hasn't recalled yet. So that is something that he will most likely be looking forward to. At this bot lane that we were talking about, I feel like this might be the turning point. A fed Lulu or a fed Vayne or a fed Jinx can take over the game very easily.
Yeah, absolutely it can, especially when you have that extra protection of something like the Karma or the Lulu with a strong front line. Crucially as well, she still has the flash available, so she's not even going to be that easy to gank with the Karma shields. And it looks like they're just going to push in and keep pressing the CS advantage, 54 to 36 in the bottom lane. The is very large, but that is somewhat similar to what we see in the reverse for the mid lane with GFG CECS being up almost 60 CS to the 43 of Royal.
Yeah,
but as
look at
TP's
Sork
comes
here.
in,
As the teleport comes in, Bog going to flash in for the polymorph. The Ornhorn comes through. Dirty Phil. He managed to find the Ornhorn onto Murphy. Murphy knocked up against the wall, and he's going to die. Swark taking a kill off of that gank as well as the teleport, and they might just look for the dragon here.
yeah, and Dragon is going to be secured. We see Sean on the top side. That was a TP used as well as the flash from Bog for one kill. That was definitely nice for the side of GFT. I see why they did it, but in a situation like that, you really hope for both kills. Bog is going to be much farther behind now. The wave's going to be able to crash before he gets there, and he's going to lose even more CS. We actually see Sierra's rotating, so good rotation by them to make sure that they don't miss the extra CS. Even still, a good proactive play by GFG to try and keep them back in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a bit of a gold lead for Casual Reform still, mostly because of simply CS differentials in these lanes. But Sirius, he's doing pretty healthy in that department. Scissors and Swark are a bit lacking, as well as Dirty Phil, excuse me, as Sean here. Looking for something on the top side. He has a level 6 as well as the Equalizer and an Alternator to his name. He'd very well be looking for a gank, but for now it looks like he's going for this blue buff with priority in the mid lane. Swark seems to be walking towards his blue buff, so we'll have to see if they meet. Sean here, he's going to manage to smite it away, and he's going to get away scot-free with that blue buff.
Oh, well timing by Sean. And we see even Swark there place the word down to see his blue buff was being taken away. That was just about as close as you can get to messing with his act before being Elastic Slingshot. It's a good job knowing his limits, knowing how fast he clears. In terms of build, I want to draw everyone's attention to the Lucidity boots on the Zac. That's something that you can see more, or that we used to see more and more with these tank junglers, but that's really going to help him now that he's 6. He's going to be able to get his ult off a lot sooner with that 20% CDR as another TP comes in from Sierra's bot lane.
Yeah, another teleport here, this time from Cirrus. The gravity field will come down, as well as the ultimate from the Victor. Harley, he's taking a lot of damage, and without the flash, he's just going to die. Scissor is going to take that kill. This is the second time the Casually Reformed bot lane has died to a TP gank now. As Royal here, he's a little too far forward in the lane. Swark, he's coming with the Elastic Slingshot. The Ornhorn comes through. He has the ultimate to keep himself invulnerable for a small time longer, but not long enough. He flashes away, the smite will come down, and Swark, he picks up this kill. Another successful gank from GFG.
GFG's rotations are so on point. That was such an intelligent TP. Unfortunately, Harley did miss the Flame Chompers on the TP, which possibly could have gotten him away, but he doesn't end up connecting that. At the same time, they had mid and Dirty Phil. Looks like he's going to have the rotation where he's only going to miss a cannon minion and probably about 3 or 4 CS. For the double set of ganks they did, that gave them a huge gave them a huge boost in gold. They're now almost exactly tied, and importantly, it gave a kill onto Scissors. Really well played by GFG. They lost the minimal amount of CS with maximizing the gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the CS lead that Harley had, after this wave crashes through, it shouldn't be that far off. Visitors will struggle a little bit to take this wave as he is, short ranged and under his turret as a Vayne. Not
Bane
super fun
things.
to farm as. But Sierra's here, he might be a little too far forward as Sean. He has the equalizer ready. Ooh, he's going to flash forward, but he's overheated. And that is just bad heating management there from Sean, using his flash for pretty much nothing there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely wanted to get that ult off either before or probably after the flash. But as you said, just poor heat management might be a little bit new on picking up a champion, but that is fairly costly in a game that's so close like this. A tempo loss on someone immobile like Rumble, when you have so much engaged like Horn Zac, can be huge. But we see him now hovering around the bottom, maybe thinking he can get a kill with his ult bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. No TPs available on the side for GFG. So this very well could be a successful gank if they manage to pull it off, but it doesn't look like they're going to pull the trigger. Sean will be walking back towards that jungle and clearing out some vision for now.
Yep, we see now Daniel going a little bit aggressive, which shouldn't result in too much. As you can see, the tanks doing about 200 damage to each other. Hashtag tons of damage in the top lane. As Schwartz hovering down bottom lane, you're going to see if they can get this Jinx to play aggressive. She has flash in a few seconds, so it doesn't look like they will, and they're actually just going to back off. Smart play by CR, not seeing the jungler and just deciding to back off. They know that Zac has such a huge engage rage potential, say that 10 times fast, and so they just make the wise decision to back up, not play it, not do anything aggressive, just push the wave, keep the CS advantage, and repeat.
Ooh, George Foreman Grill here. They definitely could have froze this lane. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Um, I guess the dragon spawning is something that you have to consider when you freeze a lane. But nonetheless, I feel like a frozen lane into a Zac gank could have been very lethal. As here, casually performed, they're actually going to start the dragon here. Swark is going for a gank in the mid lane, but it's not going to land. The TP comes in, but it's way too late. And another teleport is coming in from the Gnar. Now it's a 5v5. Except Royal, he's a little late on the rotation. Daniel, he's just going to be taken down from that teleport. Sean, he's caught in between all of the members of GFG. And this is just a wipe from GFG. That is going to be 2 for 0, though the dragon goes for casually reformed.
Yeah, they had the dragon in their eyes, but just a very late TP from or late TP from Dirty Phil, but an even later TP from Daniel. That's even if Daniel didn't see it, I'm just gonna cut myself off as a gank going bottom.
Yeah, Swark here, he finds another angle. Harley forced the flash away. That third hit, it most likely would kill him. But Zitters gets caught into the traps. And I believe that has to be a misinput as he autos a minion once or twice before moving out of the way. He's going to live. That is at the cost of his flash, heal, and the wild growth. That was extremely close.
Yeah, not what you want to see. He isn't gonna have sums up. Thankfully, he shouldn't be fighting anyway for the next 5 minutes. As I caster curse them, I'm sure. But even still, just a hard mechanical misplay is gonna cost him both the sums. And with someone like Vayne that is short ranged, and especially someone that has such an outplay potential like Vayne, you don't really want to be losing these sums on mechanical misplays. We'll see if Sean can capitalize on it. Maybe Royal, who has the TP available, he's almost level 11, can go for a TP gank as well. It's going to be on CR to punish that, punish the cooldown of the wild growth and the Vayne summoners.
Absolutely, that is something to look out for. All summoners down on both AD carries. Bog does have his summoners up though, so it definitely could dissuade a bit of a fight there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I believe that he was autoing a minion, if my eyes don't deceive me, instead of running back. So yeah, definitely something not what you want to see. Maybe a bit of a lag spike there. Unfortunately, we're not sponsored by any internet service providers quite yet. So maybe something that could happen there. But Daniel, he's going to go Mega, but again, this top lane has just been a wet noodle fight all game long.
Yeah, nothing gonna happen in the top lane. We see CS. There is still a 20 CS lead. As Schwartz
As we
comes in
say
and
that,
Call of the Forge God does.
the Ornhorn as well as the Laxic Slingshot is so much crowd control for Daniel. He's going to hop away, but is most likely not going to result in anything. But Royal, he's coming in. Daniel, he has the immunity for now. as the equalizer comes down. But Daniel, hit points very, very low. But the KLW will save him for now. The Mega Death Rocket goes wide. Serious, he's on a bit of a hunt, but he doesn't manage to find anything. As both teams disengage, teleports used from both mid laners.
Yeah, we saw that really well played by Daniel to survive so long, but that was a very late TP by Sierras. There was a word in the bush that he could have TP'd on earlier. Would have been a little bit risky, but you have to make those plays if you want to try and force it. But I can't stress enough. Really well played by Daniel just to stall. Royal gets there with the ult, and Sean comes for the extra third backup. They get out away with it. They maintain the CS lead. He is still 0-2 on the Gnar, but not giving this Ornn or this Zach any more kills, any more tank stats is going to be super useful for a team that doesn't have a lot of damage until late game.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see now, a bit of a lane swap, actually. I believe this is only for the purposes of that play that was going up into the top side. As we now see Royal, level 11 with a Gnasher's Tooth completed, as well as a Cull completed to his name, as well as Daniel actually going to complete his Cull in exactly 1 minion. So Royal definitely going to feel good after this a little difficult early game into a victor for sure. As both teams now, it's interesting. Even though the gold lead is pretty close, the kill lead is a bit misleading. Both teams super hard scaling, as we already mentioned. So this might end up being a bit of a scale off.
Yeah, and when it comes to scale off, I think one of the most important factors is going to be the range. Both on the Jinx, you can outrange just about everyone in the game, with the exception of Victor. And that was the other one I was going to mention. Was of course Victor. He outranges Kayle. He outranges both the tanks. So it's going to be a lot on both teams if they can get their tanks in position. If they can get their tanks in position so that they do, so that they can get on the AD carries and the mid laners, so they can't use that optimal range. We're going to be looking at Dirty Phil, Schwark, and importantly Daniel and Sean to see where their ults are placed and see how much pressure they can put on these DPS.
Absolutely, as this dragon is going to be started, it looks like Casually a Foreman just giving this one out. As we see Sean and Daniel up in the top side here. Just going to put down that Rift Herald and take down the T1, as the T2 should also take a Rift Herald hit. As the second Drake of the game for GFG, it is a Mountain Soul, so that is one very impactful dragon, in my opinion. Probably the best dragon that GFG could have asked for with this double tank front line, as well as, even Lulu can use some of those resistances. Daniel here, he's being caught out. He's way too far up in his lane. Not too much to say here. He will go Mega. It will save him for just a while, as Sirius is going to hunt him down. Take a zap here. As Zizzers, he's going in for the kill. He has the Wild Growth on top of him. The ultimate and the tumble. The crit is massive, and he takes the first kill. Murphy here, stunned again, condemned against the wall, and that is a double kill for Zizzers. Absolutely massive play here from GFG. Zizzers now in a very good spot to carry this game, as Royal here. He might be getting ganked from Sork again. The Zac is just everywhere on the map. The gravity field misses. The elastic slingshot misses as well. The immunity from the Kayle ultimate buys him a few more seconds, but not enough. He goes down, and now it's all falling apart for Casually Reformed.
Disaster for Casually Reformed everywhere on the map. They lost. There's a lot to break down. Obviously, Daniel's staying too far ahead. And I want to stress importantly, if I am Murphy on CR, I am yelling at my AD carry right now. How on God's green earth did you find the 2.5 seconds I was away warding to somehow get engaged on and die? Why does this keep happening? But that is going to be rather costly, giving the Vayne a double kill and taking away that farm and experience. We see now even the CS lead is still going to be a little bit in Harley's favor, but not by nearly as much. A huge misplay by the CR bot lane, and then mid lane as well. I don't know what to say. Schwark is just omnipresent in this game. He goes from killing top lane right to killing mid. Royal hasn't scaled enough, only had the one item in Gnasher's Tooth, doesn't have enough damage to really do much at this point at all. Still not level 12, not at that level 16 that Kayle loves so much. So just a huge win overall, and we can see a 2K gold lead now coming out from GHG off of that win.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that we mentioned is those jungle changes. And, well, I don't believe the jungle changes are necessarily the reason we're seeing gang junglers. But as I say that, Royal, he's caught in a 1v2. He doesn't have the ultimate. He has the flash, but it's not going to help him as Zizzers takes down his 4th kill of the game as Dirty Phil. Not too sure about that teleport. But, yeah, flash
Flashes
that
the
TSM
TSM.
low.
Yeah, yeah. He
Flash
knows.
the
He knows. He's
TSM
like, you
like,
know
he
what?
does.
TSM play. That's why they're not at work at MSI. You know, he understands.
He's representing NA in this best of 3. Poor Cloud9, of course, going to an 8 at MSI. As Sirius here, he's a little caught out by the equalizer. He's going to have to expend his flash to get over that wall, but he will be safe for now. And now, the scale off that we were talking about might not even happen, just because the gold lead at this point has ballooned to 3K at 20 minutes, which isn't huge, but it is definitely impactful. And especially when you have, I'd say, the better scaling composition. Just because of the Lulu Karma mismatch, Lulu scales so much better than Karma. It is something that you have to look out for. And now, Zizzers, even though he had a pretty disastrous early game, he's sitting on 2 items.
Yeah, 2 items Vayne. He went for the aggressive build, Kraken Phantom Dancer. I say that's probably the best build in just about every game. He's going to do a lot of damage, but so does Sean, but not nearly as much. He's going to just flash away.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's going to flash away. Bog actually flashed over that wall. I believe he was trying to get a wild growth on top of Zizzers to crowd control Sean. Unfortunately, not going to work out. But it's fine as the emote that he flashed. Love that emote with Soraka drinking that mug of coffee, tea, what have you. As this 3rd Drake.
It was probably Red Bull, is what it was. Soraka's probably drinking Red Bull, I think.
Yeah, for
probably
sure.
the new summer edition. Red Bull.
Yes, Soraka for sure loves Red Bull. I
Yeah.
can totally imagine her drinking some of that. As a Dirty Phil here, Sean actually face checking this bush. Might be in a little bit of danger. No, it looks like GFG are going to back off for now. This Drake is very important. If GFG get this dragon, they put themselves at Soul Point. Soul Point, of course, very strong, especially when it's a Mountain Soul. You can basically force plays around the map saying, hey, you want to get this soul really badly or deny it? Well, I'm just going to go do Baron. As this soul already starting to go down. Very careful. The Drake is going down pretty quickly. Sean, he finds a pretty good equalizer, but he's way too in front, and there's no front line here for CR. As I say that, Daniel, he engages with the Gnar. It only hits 1. They're being guided back, and the damage just isn't enough. Royal, he's doing some very decent damage. He flashes in onto Bog, but the wild growth is still there, and the ultimate, it doesn't help him survive for long enough. Zizzers, he's diving into the backline. That final auto from Harley does not take him down, but the shields, the kiting from Harley, can they actually do this? Murphy, he's running away for his life, but Sean, the zap comes through. Excuse me, that is serious. Their names look way too similar on my Discord stream. As they take the 3rd dragon for themselves. The GFG now setting themselves as Mountain Soul Point.
Yeah, we saw there Sean got way too far ahead of himself. He wanted to go for the ultimate to force them off, but if you go for the ultimate to force something off, you generally want to be way far back. You want them to be running away and have your tank then go afterwards. Go in for the big damage when they're in a bad position from the ult. They try to make a play mid lane, but I don't think this is going to be much, yeah. So bad misplay by Sean, a little bit too aggressive is going to cost him. His death early split his team up. They weren't able to effectively DPS. We saw Harley and Royal both do a substantial amount of damage, but it's not nearly as much as Zizzers and CECS at this point. And with 3 dragons up with Baron on the board, it's all, the game is for GFG to win for sure.
Absolutely, this gold lead that we were talking about now balloons to 5K gold at 25 minutes. Definitely something to keep our eyes on. As Dirty Phil here gonna get his recall canceled for just a sec. Royal, he's actually splitting, which I do not think is a terrible decision when you're this far behind on the kill. Still not at his 2nd item. Definitely going to want to get that as soon as possible. But more importantly, I think if Casually Reformed want to win this game. They need to be ready. They need to have level 16 on Royal before that soul point comes through. And I am wondering if they actually have the macro to pull this off, because it's going to be very difficult. As GFG here looking, posturing around the Baron. Bog is going to put a polymorph down, but for now, they're just dancing around Baron vision.
Yeah, setting up for Baron. Baron is GFG. They know that it's going to be so hard for CR to contest. It's a 5k gold lead, which might not seem like a lot, but when you look at the items and you look where they're distributed, there's so much gold on the mid laners, as well as crucially on the tanks. As we can see, Schwark going in, solo killing.
Yeah, Schwark here basically 1v1ing Murphy. Now, not too surprising as it is a Karma support, but still, you can see the damage coming in from these tanks. These tanks are not to be trifled with. They have accrued so much gold and so many items at this point that even damaging a tank is a problem. As Bog here, he's putting some vision down. The vision game here going to be very important, especially to scout out these elastic slingshots, as we mentioned on the analyst desk here, as Dirty Phil and Daniel, they're just going to be setting up in this bot lane.
Give up the tower. You don't have to fight. It's an outer tier tower, and this is what happens if you do. Schwark going in.
Yeah, the elastic slingshot comes through, as well as the ultimate, and this is just to wipe the AoE, and the damage is just way too much. The triple kill comes in for Cirrus. Daniel is the only one left alive with that super late teleport. And unfortunately, this might mean GFG for the win as they look to take all this jungle camps as well as the Baron.
Yeah, I don't know why CR is defending their third tier tower 26 minutes in the game when they're so far behind. They don't even have complete vision on their team, and Schwark is able to get such an easy engage off. After that, they have the Shurelya's moving them forward, and CR, instead of trying to backpedal and cut their losses, go for the full fight. All that means is that they lose 4 on top of the Baron. Just maybe panicked play from CR. Otherwise, it's hard to kind of understand why they would try and fight that one. Bad misplay, bad choice to defend the tower, and even worse to stay and take the fight afterwards. That's Baron for GFG. There is Dragon spawning in a minute. As it is such a huge gold lead on GFG, we can see 3 items with the Ornn upgrade on the Vayne. We see 3 items on the Victor with the Ornn upgrade, and he even has Rabadon. They're so strong on GFG, and in 45 seconds, they're going to be even stronger with the Mountain Soul.
Absolutely. The items as well as the ornaments coming in from GFG. They have attained critical mass when it comes to scaling. 3 items on the Vayne, 3 items on the Victor with that Rabadon. That IE completed for Zizzers, as well as the upgraded Kraken Slayer. Dirty Phil here. He might be a little caught out as Daniel. He's running him down, but he doesn't know that Swark here. He's just waiting into the side lanes for an elastic slingshot. Doesn't look like they're going to look for Daniel just quite yet. GFG, they are posed to win this game now, taking down this inhibitor turret down in the bot lane. This dragon here is spawning in 5 seconds, and you have to imagine that this is just a free dragon for GFG, as well as the soul.
Yeah, we see here they're going for it. The Jinx ult comes out, not gonna land. Crucially, still Royal, still only level 15, doesn't have the power spike he needs from Kayle, and Jinx does not have the armor shred she needs to get through these tanks. She's only sitting on the last whisper, not the Lord Dominic's regards. But even if she had it, it wouldn't help her all that much, especially just from being autoed from Vayne, as they look to siege the mid tower now.
Yeah, and now the tanky stats. This front line is just indestructible. Look at Dirty Phil. He's tanking damage from 5 people, and it barely tickled him. This is
Doing
absolutely
him dirty.
obscene. As, yeah, Dirty Phil doing them real dirty with this Mountain Soul. Look at this! Swart just walks in front of Sean's face, eats 2 harpoons. He didn't lose a single hit point. That is just how tanky GFG are now. And you have to imagine, how are you going to do damage? You need to buy some time. You need to buy some better items to deal with this front line. But I'm not sure that GFG is going to let you do that as Soric. He's just going to base in his face. I believe he ate the harpoon, but the Mountain Soul actually just tanked it.
Yeah.
Got his recall off. As now, it looks like GFG are posed to a 5-man top lane and take down maybe this 3rd inhibitor.
Such a precise and like precise and methodical approach to this game from GFG. They're not trying to make these big plays. They're almost doing the bare minimum. They're just following the next logical step. Okay, you know what? We took mid lane. All right, let's walk bot lane. Let's take that one. Let's not force a fight. Okay, we took bottom lane. Let's back, get our items. Let's go top lane and get the final inhibitor. It's so methodical and so well thought out. They're not giving CR any chance to capitalize on mistakes. Not giving CR a chance for the comeback. And GFG is going to be almost surely rewarded with the game for that.
Absolutely, GFG here. They're playing by the book, looking to take down this second turret in the top lane, as it most likely will fall. Recall's coming in from Royal and Harley here. This is the last stand for Casually Reformed. A triple inhibitor almost always means a lost game. As Swork is going in, he finds the elastic slingshot on no one. He's trying to kite back. Oh, polymorphed here. Daniel, he doesn't find the Gnar on anyone as the delayed Gnar ultimate. That Victor damage does so much here. Harley and Murphy both chunked Royal. He's forced to use the ultimate. Scissors here. He finds the double kill. Ooh, I'm kind of... I think he could have gone for a pentakill right there. I'm not going to lie, as the wild growth was still there. But again, they're just playing by the book. As I say that, the spec delay, or excuse me, the spectator bug, where when the game is won, it just freezes on us. The caster's nightmare. As GFG, I don't want, like, be biased, but I have a pretty solid read that GFG take the first game of this series.
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking the freeze was them surrendering as we get back to the Red Bull analyst desk as we welcome back Kane and Lukin, who is here somewhere, I'm sure. All right, there he is, apparently.